Welcome to today's Explainer. So it is Sunday, July 5th, 2026, and the fireworks are officially fading. Let's be honest, we're all probably feeling that familiar, slightly exhausted post-holiday haze right now as the US wraps up a massive Independence Day weekend. But while we're all recovering, there's a giant, macro-level shift happening right under our feet. Today, we're unpacking a really pivotal moment in technology and global infrastructure where the entire economy is basically pivoting in real time.
You know, the Daily Tech Reader put out a news brief at 4 p.m. that just hit the nail on the head. It said the holiday weekend winds down as attention shifts toward Monday's return to work, focused on execution rather than celebration. That one word right there, execution, that is exactly what defines this current snapshot in time. We are completely moving past the flashy unveilings and the shiny novelty of the past few years, and we're stepping straight into the era of actually getting things done and proving real-world worth.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to break down mid-2026 into 4 main themes. First up, the post-holiday pivot. Second, the era of execution. Third, powering the digital boom. And finally, the human equation.
Starting off with Section 1, the post-holiday pivot.
Right now, as millions of Americans finish up their travel, there's this really palpable shift in the air. We're transitioning out of vacation mode and facing the sometimes brutal reality of the daily grind. Transit volume is incredibly high. Airports, highways, transit systems, they are absolutely packed. Couple all of that movement with just massive summer electricity demand across the country, and you get a very clear picture of a nation heavily taxing its infrastructure as everyone braces for a full return to high productivity mode on Monday morning.
Now, if we zoom out for a second, this whole productivity push isn't exactly happening in a vacuum. We're dealing with some serious global friction. There's extreme European heat that's putting a huge strain on infrastructure and agriculture, ongoing military operations between Ukraine and Russia, and some incredibly complex diplomacy happening to secure Middle Eastern energy stability. But here's the crazy part. Despite all this geopolitical uncertainty and intense climate impact, international supply chains and the global economy remain remarkably resilient. The global machine just keeps humming along, with commercial shipping pushing steadily through major trade routes.
Let's move to Section 2, the era of execution.
Let's be real, the days of the AI Wild West are officially behind us. It wasn't that long ago that the focus was purely on experimentation. Everyone was playing with new AI tools, just trying to figure out what they could do, and investors were throwing capital at almost any idea. But today, global markets and enterprise tech have fundamentally shifted. It's all about operational execution and measurable value now. Investors are no longer speculating, they are demanding profitable AI. Organizations are measuring these tools strictly by the hard business value and the actual productivity they generate.
Because AI is no longer a shiny novelty, it's standard business infrastructure. We're seeing AI coding assistants completely reshape how software is built, which pushes automation so much deeper into day-to-day business operations. Enterprise software is just integrating these capabilities by default now, which is radically accelerating deployment across the board. It's completely transitioned from being this quirky lab concept into the silent foundational engine that actually runs everyday operations.
And all of this rapid digital transformation leads us to the absolute #1 priority across enterprise tech, manufacturing, and finance right now. That singular, massive priority? It's infrastructure spending. You literally cannot run these advanced enterprise software systems and AI agents without monumental computing power. Digital infrastructure isn't just some IT line item anymore, it is the single largest enterprise technology investment priority across the globe.
And this brilliantly illustrates our third theme, powering the digital boom. A massive digital boom like this requires raw, physical muscle. We tend to think of the cloud as this weightless, invisible thing, but actually, scratch that, it's anything but weightless. It takes millions of tons of concrete, steel, and copper to keep that cloud afloat. What we're looking at is a direct cascading pipeline of cause and effect. Skyrocketing electricity demand for AI forces an explosion in data center construction and semiconductor manufacturing. And that, in turn, creates this immediate, urgent need to modernize our utility grids. The digital world is desperately, completely reliant on physical dirt and heavy industry.
To actually meet this insatiable, long-term electricity demand from these data centers and expanding edge computing, utilities are attacking the problem from all sides. It's a true all-of-the-above approach. We're seeing serious renewed attention on nuclear energy to provide that stable baseline power, rapidly growing deployment of battery storage, and continued heavy investment in renewables. Add in the massive expansion of industrial electrification, and it becomes super clear. Energy security and transmission investments are moving at breakneck speed just to keep the lights on and the servers humming.
So whether we're talking about manufacturing advanced semiconductors or modernizing these massive power grids, the dominant trend of mid-2026 is remarkably consistent. It is all about sustained, long-term investment in the systems that support economic growth. Across tech, manufacturing, energy, and infrastructure, the focus is squarely on building a rock-solid physical and digital foundation for the future.
Finally, let's look at Section 4, the human equation.
So what does this all mean for us? Where do we fit in? Well, these advancements are moving way beyond corporate spreadsheets and directly into our lives and culture. Take healthcare, for example. AI-assisted diagnostics and drug discovery are advancing incredibly fast. They're driving steady progress in cancer and genomics research, which is a massive boost for personalized and preventative medicine. And it's not just the hard sciences. AI is deeply influencing creative work too, from digital publishing right through to music production. It's become this integrated collaborative partner for independent creators and traditional media alike.
As for the everyday worker in 2026, the landscape has finally stabilized into a new normal. Hybrid work patterns, they are remarkably steady. But the really crucial takeaway is the shift in how employers value us. Because businesses are so laser-focused on measurable productivity now, AI skills are critical. We're seeing this huge expansion in enterprise training programs and skills-based hiring, which means, for you, continuous learning is no longer just some corporate buzzword. It is a vital, strategic competitive advantage in a very selective hiring market.
Yet for all this talk about AI and digital transformation, we still fundamentally crave human connection. Just look at what people were actually doing this past holiday weekend. The World Cup football tournament is still the world's leading sports story, pulling in massive global audiences. The summer movie season is absolutely booming. Streaming remains fiercely competitive, and attendance at live entertainment and museums is super healthy. It's a great reminder that while our tools, our power grids, and our software are evolving at light speed, traditional culture, live events, and shared human experiences are absolutely vital to our global society.
Which brings us to the final thought for today's explainer. As we've seen from all the July 2026 data, the entire global economy has pivoted. The hype phase? It's done. Operational execution has totally replaced experimentation. So, as AI becomes everyday infrastructure, literally a standard utility just like electricity, you really have to look inward and ask yourself, is your organization still focused on celebrating new technology, or are you focused on executing? Thanks so much for exploring these insights with me today, and I'll leave you to ponder how you and your team are adapting to this era of measurable value.